morning. My name is Matt Roszak. I'm going to be moderating this panel. Get a little cozier. I'm founder of Tally Capital, a venture capital firm here in the Bitcoin ecosystem, invested in about 20 companies. Full disclosure, I'm an investor in Bitfury, and honored to be moderating this panel. So I'm going to start with a quote by Baron Rothschild, which goes kind of apropos for Bitcoin today. He says, buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own, which is kind of interesting given the price of Bitcoin today. And it's pressure testing not only miners, but a lot of people in the room. And so you know, what's going on with you guys? What are you guys thinking? Hunker down or double down?
Hi, I'm Guy Corem, the CEO of Tech. We are a mining manufacturer out of Israel, and compared to the other guys in this stage, relative newcomer operating in this field for about 1 year. Right now, it's in our perspective, it's hunkered down. With current market situation, I think that we should concentrate on developing the best next-gen technology and hope for better market conditions before doing massive investment on mining equipment.
Hello, I'm Valery, Vavilov, CEO of Bitfury. But what was the question?
The question is, Bitcoin is on sale right now, 99% off, if you guys aren't paying attention. So given the price of Bitcoin, it's pressure testing, miners, other parts of the ecosystem. So given that, do you be more conservative and you know, watch your operations and kind of wait for better times? Or do you look at this as an opportunity to say we could get bigger and stronger while everybody else is hunkering down or being more conservative?
First of all, we are bullish on Bitcoin, and I think this situation is really good for industry because it will add more stability. Of course, in my view, it's temporary situation, and there is some combination of different factors what raised this exchange rate drop. But because of this, I think the hash rate will stabilize this year. There will be no such a huge grow and arm race, and something like this, yeah.
Hi, I'm from Yoshi from Bitmain. We think right now, just hold your hat, get on the roller coaster, enjoy, keep mining. Our company believes the Bitcoin value, right now it's a tough time for everybody, but we still think that Bitcoin technology is going to benefit everybody in the near future. And once global adoption is taking place, probably the value hopefully goes back up.
Hi, I'm Luke Dash Jr. I maintain BFG miner as well as a lot of other code in the Bitcoin development world. I don't spend too much time worrying about price.
Yeah, I'm Anthony Brough. I represent a company called Aquifer. We operate a conglomerate of Bitcoin data centers in California, and we currently have about 28 megawatts of power with a considerable additional headroom. I think I echo the sentiment of the panel, which is that, you know, we wouldn't be in this business if we didn't believe in the long-term prospects for Bitcoin. And so, in a sense, there is a component of hunker down, but we do feel strongly that this is a fantastic opportunity from the perspective of our business to grow and, you know, I think capitalize on the conservative way that we've approached our business to date. I mean, there's been obviously explosive growth in the network and competition, a lot of competition rushing into the space. I think a lot of folks are probably stretched really thin and don't have a lot of margin to sustain this tough time. But for those that do, it's a glorious opportunity. And so we need to be mindful of, from a business perspective, we don't know how long this is going to last. So we need to be solvent, but we also need to keep investing and growing because this is the time to do it.
Right on. Let's talk a little bit about cloud mining. So certainly over the last year, we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. What's the perspective on cloud mining? What's a model that works, that doesn't work? Where is cloud mining going to go from here? We've seen a lot of dead bodies on the curb. We've seen a few bright spots, not many. Where do we go from here?
Cloud mining, it's a real problem for us, the hardware manufacturing side. There's lots and lots of Ponzi scheme. Some of the customers you can see in Bitcoin Talk Forum maintains a list of offerings. Every other week there is a new cloud mining scheme popping up and offering unrealistic return on the investment. I would like to find a technological solution with the help of co-developers or other players in this field that will allow, by utilizing the ASICs, locking down the contracts to specific customers, and in addition have some kind of cryptographic proof of hash rate in order to allow legitimate cloud providers. I think that right now legitimate cloud providers, there are less than 5. Ponzi cloud providers, I think 50. So, and there are some ticking bombs waiting to explode. And by the way, some of the cloud providers started as a Ponzi, got a lot of money, and started to invest in hardware. So it's not a clear cut if they are legit or not. Started as not legit and maybe turned legit later on. So again, for us as an hardware manufacturer, it is a problem. And I think that it's a kind of the next Gox bomb that can happen in this market.
I may be an optimist, yes, but on every such a situation, when prices go down or a lot of something wrong happening in cloud mining, I first of all see the opportunity, and I think one of the solutions for this could be a great opportunity to start using smart contracts. And for example, every cloud service provider could find a credible and reliable mining equipment provider and create smart contract where you see 3 parties: client, cloud service, and mining equipment provider. And mining equipment provider will so-called certify the cloud service and guarantee the hashes directly to client. And the cloud service providing could be some kind of shop or market where clients will buy this hashing power. This is like one of the solutions. How we see how we can solve it.
Yes, the crowd hashing is also giving us sometimes headache, and also our company provide crowd hashing platform called HashNest. It is profitable for us to run the operation. However, it gives us a lot of headache due to a lot of scam and the fraud on the internet. And we spoke with other manufacturers from this panel, what would be the solution to weed out fraud or legit operation to give better light to the crowd mining side of the industry. We believe there are a few different ways to possibly address concern with the crowd hashing, but with today's Bitcoin price, it's getting a little bit harder to come up with the new technologies because the physical mining, a year ago, everybody didn't care about the margin of operation because it was so profitable to do Bitcoin mining. Today, if you make a few mistakes during your mining operation is belly up, it's over. unless you can sustain a substantial loss. And due to that, some customers are focusing more into crowd mining and looking for cheaper solution. And some people are getting trapped on those too good to be true story. And unfortunately, as a manufacturer's point of view, we do not like to point fingers saying this company's bad, oh no, that company's bad, so we stay quiet. But there has to be some kind of solution.
I see the current state of cloud mining as somewhat problematic because the entire purpose of mining is to decentralize the decision-making for the policy of the network. And so all the cloud mining that's currently centralizing that instead of decentralizing it, I think some more motion needs to be moved in the direction of decentralization so that chips can be, or devices, even if they're hosted somewhere, can be controlled remotely and cannot be easily hijacked by someone who compromises the data center or otherwise takes control of those devices physically.
So from a business perspective, we aren't involved in cloud mining at all, but as Yoshi alluded, from where we sit, it's just really not that attractive of a business. So it just sort of, that, I guess my point is it sort of reinforces the concern with the too good to be true claims, because someone's got to pay the bills. I think that, I agree with Luke. I mean, cloud mining in theory should help contribute to the decentralization, and it's not. We were talking yesterday about some really interesting ideas, smart ASICs and other things, other technologies to enable that. And so from our perspective, we're not looking at cloud mining as a big moneymaker, but we do believe that decentralization, despite the fact that we're a large operator, we think decentralization is very important. And in terms of the strength of the overall ecosystem, which benefits everyone here. And so we will be looking at ways to participate in that process, and that may involve cloud mining. We have to figure out from a technical perspective how to allocate that policy control in an intelligent way.
I think that's a big opportunity. It's like, how do you get mining back out to the masses, to make soccer moms miners, to make it social, to make it fun, and it seems like the technology and the difficulty has kind of prohibited that, but it'd be interesting to see how this is going to evolve over time. We always, at every panel, every conference, people talk about the 51% attack. And on one hand, it's a potential. On the other hand, I think human nature will prevail, and people want to see this thing continue to grow and mine Bitcoin out of this and the rest of it. My greater concern is concentrations. Not necessarily a 51% attack, but take, for example, fast forward this movie for a few years, and let's assume 75% of all new Bitcoins come out of China. Is there a geopolitical issue there? Is there a concentration issue? And it could be China or some other country. And is that of a concern? And what should we do about it? Should there be a technical fix, or what's the approach on that?
70% out of the Bitcoin mined out of China. I think it's kind of a temporary situation right now. I think that we are approaching fast situation in which there will be a real differentiator in chip technology and ASIC design. And I think that it is that my belief that later on in 2015 and 2016, I think the weight will move from China to other places, Eastern Europe, maybe North America, mining facilities based on better technology. I'm not underestimating the Chinese chip design. I'm pretty much aware of what Bitmain Tech is doing and ASIC miner, but still down the road I see better 28, better 16. And I think that that's where the chip design capabilities will come into effect, and we'll see less concentration. I'm at least not in China. I am very much worried about one player in this market, very well financed, that will be able to take substantial market share, both in self-mining and equipment selling. Our company, Spondulis, up until now, didn't mine at all. Well, we've mined less than 1 megawatt on RMA unit, but we took the decision up until now not to do self-mining, not to compete with our customers, and I think that if and when one strong, well-funded competitor will reach a technology breakthrough or even good enough and will deploy en masse, I think that it will be very problematic to the ecosystem. We might see a situation in which, say, 30% self-mining, 30 to 40% sales by one manufacturer, and I think that it might be bad to the ecosystem down the road.
Yeah, regarding 51%, I think system, first of all, self-regulating itself, and but in this case, very important to have transparency. The more transparency we will have in the whole ecosystem, especially in manufacturers of mining equipment, the less threat it will be. And that's why for us as one of manufacturing, it's very important, and we're preparing our company to become public. And this is one of the reasons why, because to add the transparency. And something like this. The more transparency we will have, the better it will be.
51% attack, in theory, it's a threat, but at this moment, it can be done if somebody wanted to destroy the whole Bitcoin ecosystem. But I think the general interest is to keep these technologies and ecosystem growing. And also, I think everybody's looking into a solution, but right now I don't think there's an easy fix. But just keep monitoring the network and then make sure it doesn't happen. The concern about the concentration of hashing power in China, it's not simply because the Chinese manufacturers are just continue pumping out the Bitcoin miner. It's just, probably it's more to do with different cultural perception. In Asian countries, some of the Chinese investors, they believe in Bitcoin from early in the stage. 2014, 2013, in the US and the international market side, everybody thought Bitcoin was great. It hits the major media front line. And then 2014 comes. At that time, a lot of Western side of customers jumped on into the Bitcoin. When the price started falling in January, international customer kind of lost interest into mining Bitcoin. At the same time, when the Western side of customers are afraid to get into the Bitcoin for losing value, the Asian side of the customers saw the opportunities. So they start purchasing more hardware while the demand in the Western side of the world dropped. Eventually, the Bitcoin mining hardware manufacturing, it's a race between manufacturers to get better and better chip and technologies, better power efficiency. Right now, we are lucky. We actually were able to produce the miner, but soon one of these other companies on the panel will probably come up with a better efficient machines. So the race is going to be uphill, like a roller coaster. For us, right now, we're going up. One of these days, we're going to start seeing going down, and somebody else is going to rise. So eventually, once the Western side of the world starts seeing a value or start believing in Bitcoin, more businesses, more mining firm may take a risk and join the mining, and then hopefully the mining power will be distributed around the world. And at the same time, the Bitmain company does self-mining and also manufacturing, but the self-mining power is not concentrated only in China. Those are distributed globally. And another part, we do receive some questions from the customers. The world #1 largest mining pool is operated out of China, Discuss Fish. However, I don't have the exact detail where the customers are originating from, but I believe not everybody's are mining from China. They're just using a mining pool out of China. And AMP pool, which is the second largest pool on the network, which is operated by our company. However, as of this morning, I believe we have 13 to 15% of the network power pointed to our pool. However, majority of the hashing powers are coming from international customers, not from China.
There's a lot that can be said about 51% attacks. Probably the most important part is that 51% isn't some magical number. A lot of people don't realize that even under 50%, even as low as 10%, there's still a significant chance that someone could perform these attacks. So that's why decentralization is as important as it is. Maybe there's a lot of people that say that nobody's going to perform an attack, which is quite possibly true, but if it's just the potential to perform that attack that's the problem, not necessarily whether it's done or not. Because if there was no if there was nobody doing it, then
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, the geopolitical perspective on the concentration is something we think about a lot, and one of the chief benefits we think that our company brings to the ecosystem, given that we're based in the United States. We all know that the vast majority of the investment of the VC money is coming from the United States, but the fundamental infrastructure that supports the entire ecosystem is vastly, by and large, outside of the United States. So, you know, there's question as to whether or not, as Luke alluded to, there's an incentive for anyone to actually do something detrimental to the market, and that's reasonable. But you know, the fact remains, if the risk is there, then you know, we never know for sure. I tend to agree with Valery about transparency. I think that's really where I think a lot of the anxiety comes from that people have about the location and the centralization of the hashing power, because it's very opaque. You have certain data points and you try and piece the picture together, but you don't really know where the hashing power is coming from or who's doing it. One of the things that we are working on right now is a proposal to create some sort of self-regulating body or opt-in organization for mining companies, where, in order to increase transparency, where participants would be releasing audited reports on their operations, and you know, just in the idea of increasing transparency. I mean, I'd love to hopefully become public one day, and then we'll have those transparency requirements. But we're not quite there yet, and I don't think many players are in the position that Bitfury is. So until then, we think that it makes a lot of sense to have at least an avenue for companies like us to show our good faith to the market and show that we are supporting the ecosystem and the strength of the whole mining part of the Bitcoin world.
And also, for the manufacturer's point of view, it makes no sense for any manufacturing company to sell some customers that kind of quantity of Bitcoin miners. If somebody come to us saying, here's 100 million, please give us 60% of the network hashing power today, we would love the money, but if we do that, it's a suicide to us, because as soon as we deliver the product, the Bitcoin is over. And time to time we do, any chance we have, all the manufacturers are communicating time to time. So as far as from the manufacturing point of view, I don't think none of the existing widget manufacturer will help anybody even succeed. acquiring the hardware to be able to do so. And also other manufacturing who's running a self-mining operation are monitoring their own mining operation and helping customers' mining operations secure from being hacked in to be taking a large hashing power from somebody else for the attack.
So you wouldn't take a $100 million order? Let me be clear here. Repeat that part?
No.
I'm still stuck on that part. So you think somebody would come in, give you a check for $100 million, and then blow up the system?
It's possible.
It's possible, sure.
It's possible.
There's a lot of, yeah, okay.
If there's a greedy manufacturing company out there want to make a one-time, maybe $50 million order, and then just disappear.
Or some government or a big scary
Yes.
bank that wants to blow up this party, or yeah.
Yes.
I think we give them way too much credit, but okay. Keep going.
It's probably possible because if somebody can figure out how to build their own chip and able to put it on a PCB and make a miner, someone can secretly be producing a miner and then all of a sudden one day just hit the network. But if something like that happened, everybody's watching a Bitcoin network difficulties, so sooner or later somebody's going to catch something is up before that hits.
Just to finish my thought, basically when we're saying that nobody wants to do the attack, you're basically saying we're trusting this person who has 10%, 50%, whatever percent. But if we're going to be trusting someone, then there's no need for the blockchain or miners at all. We could just be using the dollar or whatever. The whole reason the blockchain exists is that we don't have to trust someone to not attack.
Yeah, I think a self-regulatory organization is interesting. The transparency, the auditing, the providing metrics, I think would be helpful. I think would be healthy for the industry, healthy for investors, healthy for the ecosystem. So I think I'm sure we'll see that coming up. Is that something you're going to lead?
Yes.
Okay, good. We need more of that. We heard yesterday Jeff Garza wants to put miners in outer space. So pretty innovative idea. Let's talk about the innovation in mining. It's a pretty inefficient process. It consumes a lot of power. You got custom boxes with blinky lights on them, hashing, and what do you guys see over the horizon here on some of the step functions to make mining more efficient?
The process is inefficient, period. As more efficient as you will do it in terms of power efficiency, just take some of the hash rate, a competitor will come, will match your performance. So it's inefficient, period. You just do a calculation that has no meaning. But the real thing is to find ways. So we love Bitcoin, we love producing chips and mining machines. We're pretty good at that. But I think the innovation that need to comes out of it eventually will hopefully will have some other usage which are not cryptocurrency. For example, Bitcoin, because of has very unique opportunity to get rewarded on taking things to extreme. Valery talk about customizing things. So the same thing. You do some stuff on the chip design that you won't do nowhere else in no industry. And the same thing about the package, and the same thing about the data center deployment. Hopefully, some of those stuff will have other usages in other industry. One example, the chip design techniques that we are using in our next gen, it's kind of orthogonal 180 degrees to what the entire industry has done in the last 20 years. The entire industry doing synchronous clock-based design. We're attempting to do a synchronous design with some other very dangerous design techniques. If we will be able to pull it through, we'll get extremely efficient chip that will allow us to take to make a very power efficient Bitcoin miner. It's not the process itself, again, it's not efficient, but pulling through and developing those chips, hopefully will allow us later on to create a complementary or to create EDA tools that will allow a chip design to optimize data path for other chip design in other industry. That's one example. Of course, there is the deployment method, stuff like immersion cooling that people tried in the industry to do that for 30 years without success, and now there is a real economical benefit or drive to actually try and do that. And if someone will be able to do that and demonstrate multi-megawatt deployment based on immersion cooling, then suddenly it will make sense to do that also in HPC, high-performance computing industry. And also on package design, if you'll be able to do, there is of course the example of string design, doing boards without a DC to DC to try to drive the cost low. So there is a lot of innovations in term of chip design, package design, data center design, and of course software stuff above. And I would really like to see some added benefit come out of it, which is not in cryptocurrency. I'm not talking about doing script chip. That's easy one. Of course, if you do a good Bitcoin chip and you can extend it and do a good script chip. I'm talking about something completely different.
Yeah, Bitcoin opened a lot of doors for new innovations, and this is a great idea what Jeff is working about launching the network on the space. Because the Bitcoin arms race, when everybody is chasing to get the lowest power consumption on a chip, it will help to launch it from space, because on the space you have very limited electricity amount. And yeah, and I think this is a great idea, and it can be a big backup of the whole Bitcoin ecosystem if we can implement like 1 or 2 small chips on every single this space device. Also, I think Bitcoin industry and all this innovation in Bitcoin will drive the immersion cooling solutions and technologies, and will drive the HPC market. And also one thing, what in the future Bitcoin could, now it seems what Bitcoin is like full decentralized system, but it's concentrated in a lot of big data centers across the world. But in the future, we're also working on a project how to implement Bitcoin blockchain transaction processing in consumer electronic devices. And I think this also could be very interesting and one of the innovations what we will see in this year.
I'm sorry. Seeing a Bitcoin miner in the space will be a dream, because it's going to catch the mass media attention again into Bitcoin, but that's probably a future distance. The decentralizing a Bitcoin miner, we are also looking into building a smaller Bitcoin miner. It may not be profitable, but at least the device will be distributed in a mass, so it's not completely centralized into the market. And also the Bitcoin mining industry, we're seeing a lot of different innovation and investment coming into immersion cooling, because if you're into mining a Bitcoin, you have 2 options. Look at the Bitcoin mining will generate a lot of noise and a lot of heat. One side of the group is always looking, how do I get rid of the heat and how do I get rid of the noise? At the same time, there's another group of mining companies, they're looking at how can I use these heat and the noise for something to benefit, or try to monetize the heat that they generate from the machine to offset their expense. And even we've seen a lot of different companies investing so much money into immersion cooling. Eventually, it will help the Bitcoin mining industries as well as the regular computer industries. And cooling technologies, on the other side, immersion cooling, and then now we're start seeing a company from water cooling system companies are looking into how to make efficient cooling system. At the same time, we have customers talking about how they can use the Bitcoin mining machine as a pre-warming device for the swimming pool in the winter time. Because you have to, if you own the swimming pool in the backyard, you have to pay for the electricity no matter what. And a Bitcoin miner does produce heat and it consumes electricity, but if you have a power efficient Bitcoin miner, it will pay for your entire expense to heat your swimming pool in the backyard, but technology is just not there yet. But as far as I know, there are a few companies that's already looking into, so maybe eventually you'll see somebody, instead of looking at heat as a problem of the mining operation, but sooner or later some companies will come up, start looking at those as a profitable way or profitable item as part of the Bitcoin mining.
Maybe a tortilla factory. Right?
Yes, that might be too. If it's my choice, I'll have a greenhouse and grow probably strawberry or something else in the wintertime in the northern part of the world and produce some profit.
The efficiency of mining's come really far forward already. It went from like 10 to 20 watts per mega hash even on CPUs to less than a watt per gigahash. So it's come pretty far, but as long as the block subsidy is 25 Bitcoins, people are going to be spending almost 25 Bitcoins worth of electricity on mining, no matter how efficient it is. There's not much anyone's going to really be able to do to change that until the subsidy halves and halves again. One possible improvement would be to come up with the proof of work that does something else at the same time, but I don't think the technology is quite there for that yet. Using the heat is, as you said, a good idea. My pool's cold even in the summer, so.
Yeah, I don't know how much I have to add on what everyone said. Like, as Luke mentioned, the big advances in the ASICs have, there's obviously been massive improvements in the past couple of years, but that's sort of slowing down, though these guys probably have some really cool tricks up their sleeves that I don't even know about. So I guess, yeah, if we're talking about innovation, I've been thinking along the same lines. It's, how do you make the system more efficient, reusing the heat, maybe somehow generating electricity with the heat that you're generating to feed back in, but I don't think the technology is there to do that effectively yet. Yeah, I mean, like as Luke said, I mean, it's an arms race. So even if you make a doubly efficient chip, people are just going to buy twice as many. So from a power perspective, you're in the same place. It's just going to be a larger global network. So, yeah, we'll see. I do like the miners in space, though. That's pretty cool.
And by the way, this idea with heating something with Bitcoin mining, it's not just a dream, it's reality. For example, last winter we launched 8 houses was heated by Bitcoin mining, and the owners of the houses was really happy because they had free heat during all the winter. And
why only 8 houses? Russia is big.
It was one pilot project in one small community, and because of pilot. Yeah.
You didn't get them to pay for it? You gave the heat for free?
Yeah, we implemented racks with Bitcoin mining servers,
cool.
Cooled by water, and the owner of the house paid for electricity, but he returned it back with mining. And for him, it was not only for free, he even generated some profit. Of course, it was last year. This year, it would be difficult, but anyway, it is much cheaper than just pay for electricity for heat.
Yeah.
I've seen the picture of the ohm meter. It's a nice device. Another area of innovation, I think, a race of kind of getting zero-cost electricity out of reusing some other industrial processes. We are working towards such a solution, utilizing a byproduct of another industrial process. If it will work, I think it will give us a very interesting competitive edge in this market.
So we talked a lot about innovation, efficiency, bringing costs down. Let's talk about the other part of the P&L in terms of fees, transaction fees, merge mining with side chains. Where do you guys see that going over the horizon in terms of the top line growing and where that's coming from?
Regarding transaction fee, it's very hard to predict. Hopefully, the amount of transaction will rise and will make the transaction fee substantial, or alternatively, there will be some kind of co-development solution that will make it significant. Right now, it's more or less, I don't know, 0.1 to 0.3, and usually it depends on the pool. It goes to the pool or whatever. It will take time until transaction fee will become substantial. Merge mining with sidechains, I wish. I really like sidechain, Blockstream. I think that it's a thrilling idea, and I really hope that down the road we will see interesting sidechains augmenting and allow various other use cases of Bitcoin, but still Bitcoin, not doing some alt stuff. But it will take time. I think that for the foreseeable future, which in Bitcoin, dog years, 2015, 2016, it's all about mining and getting the mining revenues. It will take time for other streams of revenue to become substantial.
Yeah, I think mining and transaction processing, from one hand, it's one thing, but from the other hand, it's two different things, because mining is new generated Bitcoins, transaction processing is existing Bitcoins, what is paid for to process every transactions. And we see, of course, the revenue from transaction processing now, it's small, but it's growing every month. And by the end of the day, everything will be not mining, but transaction processing. And I think the bigger will be adoption, and the more transaction occurs, and the more revenue we will have from processing these transactions, but not from mining. That's why I don't like word mining, because mining is just some kind of subsidy to create infrastructure, and so that adoption will take fast effect and don't have some bottlenecks.
I think it's a great point.
Yes, the Bitcoin mining, the entire ecosystem still requires a lot of work. The mining has to take place to mine 21 Bitcoins to be able to use worldwide as the payment gateway or payment medium. And right now the miners are making profit. They're getting a reward for building an ecosystem. Once the ecosystem is done minting out all these digital coins, then hopefully the Bitcoin is being adapted worldwide, mass adoption. And by then, right now if you compare the transaction number between Visa, MasterCard, American Express versus Bitcoin, the Bitcoin transaction number is very tiny. At the same time, those credit card processors, they're processing humongous number of transactions, making large profit. Hopefully the Bitcoin will one day, may not be equal, but will take over some percentage of it. Then the actual, the miners themselves will be earning the actual portion of the transaction fee rather than chasing after reward of 25 Bitcoin or 12.5 Bitcoin. And when you actually do the math, millions of transactions per day times 1 cent or per transaction, it can add up. And we think right now it's a tough time for everybody for the Bitcoin mining. And some people look at it as a negative thing or crazy thing, or we wear a tin hat and just a crazy people from out of the space. But I think once people start seeing how the Bitcoin works and the mining industry side works, I think they may be able to understand. Because there's a lot of confusion between the transaction fee. The Bitcoin, most miner makes profit not from the transaction fee, but receiving find block 25 Bitcoin when your Bitcoin miner find a block. The actual transaction fee side is very tiny. Compared to if you find one block, that's 25 Bitcoin. Today, that's about just over $5,000. The transaction fee per block you receive is about 0.1, 0.2 Bitcoin, which is 20 to less than $30 per block. Once the ecosystem is widely accepted and once all the Bitcoin is mined, I think that number will reverse. Instead of, because there's no more Bitcoin for the miners to receive, but the transaction fee, when the transaction grows, some people mention that possibly right now, every day, day to day in the US, some Bitcoin payment transaction companies are processing average $5 to $6 million a day. And if you look at that number and add a percentage to it, if one company can process that much, I'm sure the credit card market processes way more than 5 or 6 million a day. And the mining industry may profit from actually receiving even one credit card company charges 1.4, 1.9%. The Bitcoin's sweet spot is right now the transaction can be zero, or you can select 10, 20 cents on $10,000, $20,000 transaction. And eventually that will probably change. Maybe somebody maybe come up with a new protocol in the Bitcoin and then maybe charge 0.1% instead of giving everybody an option for zero transaction fee. But I think it's eventually the core developing people like Luke and the Bitcoin core team may come up with how to deal with a transaction fee. Because right now you have an option to put zero as a transaction fee, but transaction completes.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. I wanted to open up the floor to questions. I know, Jez, you were raising your hand, and we'll open it up to the crowd. Just shout it. I'll repeat it. The comment was made that don't worry, you manufacturers don't worry about the 51% attack. It's more about the mining pools versus the guys making the boxes. Keep going. So early on, hobbyists were mining and collecting coins. Now, as mining has gotten professional and industrial, miners are selling coins, creating downward pressure, creating a vicious cycle. And what are the thoughts on that?
Exactly true. That's very nicely put. Unfortunately, it seems like the kind of self-destruct mechanism, vicious negative feedback loop. And you see the miners, you've alluded to China before, you know, mining up until the moment that it become unprofit and selling every last coin to pay the electricity cost, which create constant downward pressure, and on top of that, add other stuff, and you can see all that in the hash rate, which becomes stagnated again until next gen technology will come. So I don't know if Satoshi foresaw that, but it's a real problem, and I don't see a solution. You know, Valery talked before about adding mining to a consumer electronic. Or Yoshi talked about creating unprofitable hobby miners. Rockerbox try to do that. Rockminer try to do that. Another one of our partners in Bulgaria created a nice device called the DICE, which is kind of call it a lottery blockchain. You buy such device not for ROI, just for play, but all those devices, even if a Chinese manufacturer will be able to create a very nice gentleman-like device that you can buy in a gift shop as a kind of novelty item, all those hash rate will be insignificant compared to the industrial minings going on. And the industrial mining, Anthony probably can talk about it. You know, they need to pay for electricity. They will sell those coins, and it will keep creating downward pressure until the ecosystem will be able to offset it.
Let's keep going here. Anybody else want to participate in this question?
I think it's temporary situation, because if you just calculate the mathematics, how much bitcoins are mined every month, it's like 100,000 to 120,000. And how much bitcoins total in circulation? It's like millions, yes. And the more will be adoption, the less we will have this dependency. It's just a matter of time.